What is popping, everybody? Of course, unfortunately, this game was not what we wanted. Baltimore Ravens, they win 41-24. Pretty much, again, this was the game that Baltimore really did need to win. If they would have lost, they would have been eliminated from the postseason. But pretty much Baltimore kind of came in there and basically just exposed the Packers defense. And I don't know how else you can put it. But that's that. I mean, it's quite evident that there is nothing. The Packers really do need to do things this offseason. This game pretty much just proves they're not winning anything this year, and it's not like you can do anything. Now I know next week's meaningless, and yes, they're going to be the 7th seed now. It's pretty obvious they're going to be the 7th seed now. Again, for the third year in a row, as if, why even make the playoffs if you look like this? But again, it's not really going to mean anything. I truthfully don't know what to say. Nothing seems to be getting better. Everything seems to be getting worse. And the injuries keep piling up. They literally lost Hobbs, and then they lose some guy that literally never gets playing time to a season-ending injury. They have to and then they got to get another guy. They got to pick up some random dudes from practice squads to actually think that you still have a chance. There's not even a single person on the It is like Swiss cheese. There's not even a single person even left. And, it was good that they got Love the rest, but now you got yourself a quarterback controversy because Malik Willis played out of his mind. 18-21, 288 yards, a touchdown in the air. Was only sacked once, a 134.6 quarterback rating. 9 carries for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. They didn't even run the ball. Jacobs only had 4 carries for 3 and a catch for 0. Manuel Wilson, 3 carries for 16. Watson, 5 catches, 313 yards. First time a receiver, not a tight end. I know Kraft went over 100 this year. He's the only other guy to do that. 5 catches, 113 yards, a touchdown, 3 catches for 62 for Dobbs, 4 for 41 for Reed, 1 for 34 for Melton, 1 for 12 for Golden. Brooks had 1 for 11. Wiley had 1 for 8, 1 for 7 for Wicks, and a catch for 8 for Manuel Wilson. Xavier McKinney led the way, 13 tackles. Quay Walker had 12. Edgerrin Cooper had 10. Quay Walker with the only sack on the day for the Packers. McManus only was 1-1 from field goal today. The Packers didn't even punt the ball. And they lost. That's just weird. Tyler Huntley, 16-20, 107 yards and a touchdown and 8 carries for 60 yards. But he wasn't the offense today. The offense was Derrick Henry, a guy who's a solidified Hall of Famer. 36 carries for 216 yards and 4 touchdowns. Hall of Fame worthy performance right there. Derrick Henry got it done when he needed to. 4 catches for 30 yards in the air, touchdown in the air for Zay Flowers. 4 catches for 28 for Andrews, 3 for 27 for Likely, and pretty much not really much from anyone else. Nate Wiggins led the day with 7 total tackles. Tavarius Robinson had a half sack, and Travis Jones with the sack and a half. And Marlon Humphrey with an interception that was off of Clayton Tune, who had to come into the game when Malik Willis went down with an injury, where Tune was 1 of 4 for 8 yards. And that wasn't. And what's worse is that wasn't even Tune's fault. That was just a complete. That Belton dropped the ball, and that wasn't even the quarterback's fault. But again, this was a game that basically just exposed. And Willis did what he needed to do. The Packers have not allowed a touchdown in the first quarter all year until today. Once that happened, I knew that was when the Bears broke this team. They broke this team, and I know it's most likely we're facing them in the first round, but truthfully, that game last week just completely broke them down. The defense was pretty much exposed against anything that you can say. There's no one really left. Hafley, it's not all on him. Nobody's left. You don't have Parsons. Wyatt, I knew was going to be an issue. You losing him, I knew was big. Now you don't even having Parsons just made it bad. They gotta do some things in the draft. I know they don't have a first round pick for the next 2 years, and it's going to be rough to try to figure out what they can do. But they need a top tier corner because Nixon and Valentine ain't it at all. Hobbs has been pretty much battling through injuries and hasn't done much. Our offensive line can't create holes to help Jacobs get runs. And Matt LaFleur is not helping at all with his play calling. There is really nothing that's making me be optimistic for the future of this team. I know they sold out and got Parsons, and while it was great what they did, truthfully, yes, they're not. This just basically showed they're not gonna do much. They're not gonna really do much. One more game next week against the Minnesota Vikings on the road. I am assuming they don't want to learn the mistakes that they had last year with playing starters, and then of course they all got injured and nobody was healthy, and we pretty much couldn't win because people were injured and stuff. You want Love healthy. For sure, you're going to have to go with Willis again, or even maybe Clayton Tune. No Jacobs. And no starters should be playing next week at all. You already know you're going to get the 7 seed. There's no reason why you should even put yourself in a position to even try to injure any players. This team is literally a hospital right now. It's hot. It sucks, man. It sucks. And stuff like this makes you want to sit there and say, man, I can't wait for the Brewers season. That's just how I feel at this point. I just want to see what they do in the draft and just move on and just be done with it. I don't know. I don't know what else to say anymore. Now, of course, today's, it's going to be a long way. I'll do obviously what I can do. But again, especially if you got to face the Bears in the first round of the playoffs, that's just going to be crazy, And this all wouldn't have probably happened if, Bears wouldn't be celebrating the division right now if it wasn't for Romeo Doubs muffing a onside kick last week. The Packers could have been in first place, and at this point, and the Bears would have been motivated. They would have lost. Then it was still the division's up for grabs. But dang, this is just a season with so much expectations was literally flushed down the drain because of injuries. This is just brutal. And once you just could not do anything, everyone is going to be wearing those cheese grater hats for the rest of our lives. You lose a game, it's basically like college football traditions where it's like it's going to shove it in your face because the entire country hates Packers so much. And that's that. So I don't know what else to say anymore, but man, I feel for Malik Willis. He played his heart out, and Willis is literally showed today that he should be a starter in the NFL. There's a dilemma now. And I said Willis has come in and he's done things. The talk of him really being better than Love's crazy, but they're both on the same par. Malik Willis is just a lot more. He's different. He's more mobile. He can do more things. He can run compared to Love. But again, this game, that was just brutal to watch. Especially, and I get it. They actually came back. It was a 3-point game. I know the last touchdown really was pointless, but once things, it just sucked. And then of course that last thing, I feel for Tune. That wasn't even his fault, but the interception wasn't even his fault. But again, yeah, that was just so much in that game that it was actually winnable, But that just stinks. This is exactly a summary of the season. They just cannot do the right things. There's a lot that really has to be addressed. Pretty much. Whatever happens in this postseason, I will be more optimistic, and I say once the season officially ends, then I'll start talking about what they should do in the offseason. But is this a reach that I'm already saying it's done? I don't even know. But I don't know. Most people, but again, we'll see you next time. That's all I'm gonna say. But that game basically killed the team. That game last week pretty much killed the team. All right, we'll see you next time. Go Pack, go.